Esoteric Online.
Now, the book itself acts as a manual, doesn't it? But are you also doing courses as well?
Yeah, I am doing. I mean, at the moment, I've got a couple of people who've been training with me to be accredited teachers of the system, which is basically to teach it as it's been written. Now, I am totally aware of what happens when you release a system like this into the general consciousness. People get hold of it, they'll change it, they'll add to it. That's cool. I'm not going to go suing people for that like some try to. It's ridiculous. Don't publish the book in that case. But if people want to sort of be accredited by the Lady of the Flame as I see him and by me, and to be given updates when new material comes out and access to other things, then they can be accredited teachers through me. But it's not essential. I mean, some practitioners with their systems have said, you know, no one can practice this unless you've signed this with me and paid me this much money, otherwise I'm going to sue you. And that's a reality, but I do not want to go down that path myself. So.
Good, glad to hear it. How do you find that people have coped with using the Egyptian terminology? Because if you're not used to it, the pronunciation is quite hard, isn't it?
Oh, well, yes. I mean, two of the ladies who came last week were saying, look, one thing you need to do for these teachers you're training, you really need to have a sheet with all the pronunciations on, not just sprinkle throughout the book, but we need like a comprehensive glossary. So I did that on there, thought, yeah, you're right, actually, because although I know them, because I've been working with them like for the last 5 years, so I appreciate it's a bit difficult for people to get to them, but I hope they sink in pretty soon, though.
And is there a symbol connected with each mantra as well?
Not so much with the mantras. I mean, there is, for each Shefat, there's a symbol that, encompasses what that Shefat contains, means, all the rest of it. And there is also a netta or God symbol for each one as well, which isn't quite so important. You probably just use that to connect with that netta, but you don't have to because you can connect with them in whatever ways you want. But a lot of people like working with symbols, so they are in there. But, you know, at the end of the day, really, the system isn't the symbols. The symbols are just there to use as foci. You know, it's like you could do it without the symbols altogether and it would still be the same, but people like to work with them. We're visual creatures, humans, so that's why I included them. I like working with them.
So the book itself was published in June, you say. Now you're in the fortunate position of actually being able to publish your own books because you've got your own publishing company.
Yes, happily. I don't have to bother with those nasty big publishers anymore. So, yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about Armenian Press and how it came into being?
Yeah, I mean, it's bizarre how it's grown, really. I mean, the reason we started it back in 2003 is I was having a new Wraithu trilogy out, which is my fiction work. And I wanted to bring back the old books, the original Wraithu books, which have remained in print in America since they came out in the 80s, but have been out of print in England for donkey's years. So I thought, you know, I'd try and get my publisher interested in doing new editions. Well, no, they're just not interested, are they? Because all they want is new stuff, and the publishing industry in England is in a really bad state anyway. So I looked into print-on-demand technology and realised it had suddenly become feasible for anybody to become a publisher without having to have a £10,000 budget. So myself and a few friends, we set up Armenian Press purely to bring out the old Wraithu books to start with. And then sort of got chatting to a couple of other writer friends at conventions, and they were saying, well, actually, we quite like our back catalogue back in print. You know, any chance you could do ours? And yeah, all right then. So we ended up taking Frida Warrington, Ian Watson, Brian Stableford, people like that, who, again, you know, got books that they really would like to see back in print in England. And then I don't know how the non-fiction list started, really, but I mean, the fiction list grew and grew. Then we started taking new authors who hadn't written anything before. And then I think we took a couple of non-fiction ones. That's right. I wrote Grimoire de Horror, which is another magical system I'd created, which is based on Wraithu stuff. Bought that out. And then two friends of ours in America, Taylor and Looper, were interested in working on the non-fiction side. And between us, we somehow came up with this idea to have a separate imprint. So Taylor, Elwood and Looper, who are quite big names on the occult scene in America, they run Megalithica books in America and we run it over here. So, you know, there's a team of 4 of us with me and my husband and them too.
So I'm sure some of our listeners would be interested in looking at your books and your website and reading some of these books. Can you direct them in the direction of your website?
Well, it's just Imanian-press.com. I mean, at the moment, it's undergoing a huge revamp to this most glamorous, wonderful-looking thing that our friend Simon Beale has done for us. And hopefully that will be live by the second week of August. The original site at the moment, unfortunately, is in a little bit of a mess because the person who was looking after it has kind of stopped looking after it. So Simon's just redesigned it. We've done a complete new website, and that will be going live very soon. And that has all the titles on it, all the back catalogue ones, all the ones that are coming out, and new releases.
And your books are also available from any good occult bookshop, I gather.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can order them anywhere. I mean, they're available through distributors like Gardeners and Counterculture, which is sort of the alternative esoteric distributor in this country. But, I mean, you can go into any shop and order it because, they can get it through Gardeners. So we do have distribution in the...
And for anyone that's interested in the courses that you're running, where can they contact you for those?
Well, there's another website, of course, ladyoftheflame.co.uk. That's the ICEM website. I'll just say that again slowly, ladyoftheflame.co.uk. And that lists all of the courses I do, and there's quite a lot of them, all different ones to do with magic and healing, all kinds of stuff. A lot of them now, I'm not actually advertising them because I'm doing so much other stuff, but what I do is I put them on the website, and if somebody's interested in one and gets in touch with me and said, I would like to do this course, then I'll arrange it. But I'm not setting dates to say, on September the 13th, I will be starting a blah, blah, blah. I'm kind of waiting for people to come to me because I'm just pretty busy. But I never turn anyone down. So.
Yeah, it sounds like you're in demand. So I'm just imagining how you actually find time still to write your own books when you're so busy really with publishing other people's.
I don't know, really. I mean, I haven't written as much, I have to say, since Emmanuel Press has got bigger and bigger. I've published two books this year that are new material, and I've had a couple of back catalogues ones come out. But the new fiction one was another Wraithu novella called Student of Kime. That came out sort of May time. But, I mean, I'm not doing as much writing. But then again, I have written, between 30 and 40 books. And I think, I deserve a bit of a rest, actually. And I'm just looking on it that I'm just doing something different for a while, just to get some more information in my brain and get, inspiration to do it. You can't just keep churning stuff out for the sake of it if you don't have to. I mean, a lot of writers have to, fiction writers, because that's the way they make their living. But happily, I don't have to do that.
And could you perhaps tell us a little bit more about the magical system that you've done based on the Wraithu? For people who haven't heard about it, they're a race of hermaphrodites, aren't they?
Yes, yeah. I mean, this was such fun to work on. Because basically, the Wraithu community, the fan community, has sort of stuck with it since it first came out. When did it first come out? Oh, I can't remember.
About 1987 or something?
Yeah, something like that, yeah. When the Wraithu books first came out. And they've always stayed in print, in America particularly. And they've just amassed this huge following. And a lot of people who get into it are also quite into the magical side of things. And, they are a race of hermaphrodites, which means they're, male and female in one body. Although I think the bodies are slightly more like perfect male and the brains are more like perfect female.
Sounds like a good combination.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought to me. I mean, that's my dream person, Anyway, I don't know, a lot of folk had written to me over the years and saying, well, you mention in the books about so-and-so's training, but what actually happens in the magical training? So I thought, well, that's a good point. So, again, my friend Taylor Elwood in America, we thought, let's put this system together. So I basically went onto the Wraithu forums and I just said to everyone, right, all of you who are interested in magic, who wants to get involved in an experimental project to create a magical system based on the Dahara, which are the gods of Wraithu? And we got 36 handpicked people to do this experiment. We started a little Yahoo group. And we just basically did loads of meditations. We psychic quested, if you like, for information about the system and the different Dahara. And we came up with rituals. Ellen Nicholson actually was another figure who was very salient. So basically it was Ellen Nicholson, Taylor Elwood, me. Trying to think who else contributed hugely to the... I think that was... We were the three main ones, but we had all these other people who contributed little bits, and it was amazing. And we'd sort of do cyber meditations, and people would come up with the same results. We'd sort of say, right, we're going to do a meditation at such and such a time. Okay, you're in South Africa, you're in Australia, you're in America. But, we're all going to do it at the same time if we can. And then Taylor would say, well, I can't actually, but I'm going to put myself back in time, so I am doing it with you, or forward in time. And, we do all these crazy time experiments where people were not only doing the meds, but they were, doing this visualised time travel. And we just got amazing, colourful and vivid stuff. And the end result was Grimoire Dahara.
Well, that sounds fascinating. It actually sounds like we've got enough material here for at least another 3 interviews. But unfortunately, the time is defeating us. And for the moment, I have to say thank you very much. I hope everyone's enjoyed listening to that fascinating interview. And thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you too, Jenny.